Okay, hi guys. Before I even start this video, I just want to throw like a really quick disclaimer. I have my laptop right here next to me. The only reason I'm making this video is because I know that when I was trying to learn more about this and trying to figure things out on my own when I was like 17 and I just moved to LA to pursue my acting career, I tried to Google things about this. I tried to research and I looked on YouTube everywhere about just some more information about how I could work on crying on cue. I know that sounds so lame, but like it was, and I'm sure every actor has one, it was the one thing that I was the most stressed out about in terms of just my performance as an actor. And I wanted to be the best that I could be, but I was so young and did not have any friends in the industry that I could ask firsthand. And like, yeah, you can go to acting classes, and I did, and I'll talk about that. But just no matter what, it's not the same as being on a set with 100 people staring at you, waiting for you to cry. And I just really wanted to hear somebody's firsthand experience, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. So I don't know, I guess I thought that maybe now that I have some experience in that, I could just make this video in case there is a me 10 years ago. Maybe in the off chance that somebody is looking for someone that has a little bit more of firsthand experience in this, I could, I don't know, shed some insight or help them out, because I know that for me, I was focused on all the wrong things. Okay, sorry, I know that I'm just like sitting on the floor, but I don't care. We're just chatting at this point, you know? We're friends. So I have my laptop here next to me so that I can hit some bullet points. Okay, sorry. So as a lot of you probably may know, I moved out to LA when I just turned 18 and I had like $600 to my name. Same story as everybody else. I lived in a 4-bedroom condo with 6 people and I had big dreams, big dreams. Basically the first year, maybe even first 2 years of living out here was completely centered around finding a job, making enough money to be able to pay my rent, which at the time was $600. That's nothing. I know that now, but at the time I was like, oh my God, I've never paid rent by myself before or any of my bills or anything like that. So the first couple of years was just me trying to get on my own 2 feet and grow up as fast as possible, make some friends. And in doing that, I gained and lost a lot of friends. People are out here for one purpose, and that is to chase down their dreams, even if it means to step on other people along the way. It just is what it is. And there's thousands of us out here, and to fish through those people and find genuinely kind people is hard. And I'm sure that's hard everywhere, but it's really fucking hard in LA. Anyway, a lot of the common things that people ask me when they find out that I am an aspiring actress, which I rarely tell people just because it's usually followed up with a number of questions that I've answered a bajillion times. There's people that are just interested in like, what's it like? Some people are interested in the audition process, right? You know, like, what's the audition process like? Like, what do they make you do? How many times do you have to go? Some people are interested in your actual experience on set, what it's like to film a movie or film a TV show. Other times people are more interested in your performance and your skill, and that's kind of what I'm honing in on today. Can you cry on cue? This is what we're talking about today. I was pretty stressed out about it, yeah, when I first kind of started to get into acting, because I wanted to be really the best that I could be, truly. And I wanted to move people, you know? There's nothing better than when you are performing and somebody laughs out loud. Like, that's so hard to do. Or when you're crying and somebody starts crying with you because you moved them. There's nothing more complimentary than that. And that is the whole point of doing this job. Okay, so growing up, I think it's safe to say that I kind of went through a lot, and I'm not gonna bore you with like drama, okay? I think that I might have experienced more death than other people my age. Probably my first like death that I had to deal with, I was like 12 or 13, and it was a very close family friend of mine. He was my oppa. After that, I kind of just kept dealing with death all the way through high school. Like, I lost a lot of people. It got to a point where I was a senior in high school and I was at a funeral, and this particular funeral was for somebody that I had feelings for, that we had dabbled in, not dating, but like, I don't know, we knew that we liked each other. So when he passed and I went to his funeral, I didn't cry once the whole time, and never cried about his death. I think, and that was one of the last funerals that I went to. I think I just hardened, like severely hardened. You okay? Are you okay? It was really hard for me to feel kind of anything, and it kind of turned me into like a weird, sort of mean person, because I just kind of lost the ability to feel for other people. And I'm not gonna bore you with all of that, but basically I had a really, really hard time opening up to people. Being vulnerable was very hard for me, and that is exactly what I needed to do to be a good actress. You are a conduit, if you will. It's not gonna be a true performance and everyone's gonna know that you're phoning it in. So when I was 17, I started going to acting classes in Arizona. I went to as many acting classes as I could before I was gonna make the move out here, because I knew they were very expensive out here and I wasn't gonna have any help from my parents. I was gonna be completely on my own. I made it very clear to the coaches that the one thing that I really wanted to work on was crying, opening myself up, allowing myself to cry, because I just can't in my personal life, let alone during a performance. So one of the first things that we did in class was about physical triggers to make yourself cry. Things that you can do physically that will trick your body into thinking like, oh, it's time to cry. So I remember they had us all like standing in a circle, everybody facing each other, and they put you in this stance where they, you know, your legs are further apart, knees bent, arms out in front of you like this, like you're protecting yourself. And they have you basically hyperventilate and like tremble your lip, do everything you can, and it's supposed to trick your body into thinking that we're under stress and that we're protecting ourselves, we're in a dangerous situation, and you just cry. It just is what happens. It's a trigger. And it works, it does. The thing about this method is that it's not a method you can rely on when you're on a set. If you happen to be in a scene where you are under these circumstances where you need to hyperventilate and cry and things like that, then good to know that the tears are probably just gonna come. But if you're in a scene where you can't do that, then you can't really use this method, right? So it wasn't really that helpful, but it did show me that I am capable of some kind of emotion and that I'm not a complete piece of stone. So now fast forward to 2012? I don't know, it was some time later. I booked a movie and it was shooting in Hong Kong. It was an American movie, but it was shooting in Hong Kong, and I played a character that was half white, half Chinese. The movie is called Capture. You can watch that on, I think, on Hulu and Amazon Prime. I cried a lot in this movie. This whole movie was a big learning experience for me, because no matter how many classes you go to and how much you learn, for me personally, it wasn't until I was on set in those circumstances that I truly learned what worked for me and what didn't work for me. For this movie, they did a really good job of shooting it in like consecutive order so that I could actually go through what my character was going through as she was going through it. A lot of times you have to film movies out of sequence because it's kind of based on the location. Like, they'll book out a house or an apartment, so they'll shoot everything that takes place in that apartment at once. And so you have to shoot everything out of sequence. More often than not, that's what you have to do. But I was lucky that I was able to shoot this in the sequence that it was supposed to happen so that I could actually experience what my character is going through. Which means that the first cry scene that I had to do, I pretty much knew that I was gonna be crying the rest of the film. Yeah. So there was a day when I had to cry. I was extremely in my head about it. I didn't know what I was gonna do because there had been instances prior to this where I could not get there, and I faked it. Like, I didn't know what else to do. You could take maybe like one take of me actually crying. It was hard for me to stay there. It was hard for me to keep repeating it. It was hard for me to not notice all these people talking to me, talking around me, and then be able to cry when they call action. Like, that was very, very hard for me. And this one day, I could not get there. I was so stressed out. And the director came up to me and said, "Do you want to go into the next room to stay in your headspace, and when we're ready for you, we'll call you?" And I was like, sure. So I went into the room, and I'm sitting there, and I'm trying my best to like get where I need to be, but I just really felt like it wasn't gonna happen. Eventually she comes in and she's like, "Hey, we're ready for you." And I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, I don't think I can do it. I was so in my head. I was overthinking everything. I walk out to set, I sit in my chair, and Video Village was not on set. So basically, Video Village is where all the monitors are, right? When you're filming, the director isn't looking at you acting. They're looking at the monitors because they want to see what it looks like on the screen. This set was so small that Video Village had to be put in like a separate room. So the director told the AD, his name was Faye, that he could call action because she was not in the room and it was too hard. I'm sitting there, I'm nervous, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Eventually, everybody gets the okay that we're good to go, and Faye, I'm waiting for him to call action. Instead of calling action, he looks around at everybody and he says, "All right, everyone, let's just keep in mind how fucking hard this is for her. So please, if you need to talk to each other, please whisper. If you really can't whisper, please step outside. Try not to walk around too much. Let's have respect for her situation. We know how hard this is." As he's saying all of this, everyone like looks down at the floor like this to give me that respect. I literally want to cry right now just thinking about it. I had been thinking about it the wrong way. It wasn't about pressure. It wasn't about everybody looking at me and being like, "We have an hour to get this scene." That's the way that I thought everybody felt. And then he made me understand that they're not watching me cry. They're crying with me. Everyone just completely understood how tricky my position is, and they knew it was hard, and they did nothing but respect it and give me whatever I needed. Everyone was looking at the floor to just let me cry, and I just suddenly felt so connected to everyone. I think I had a wall up before between me and everybody else. And this was finally a moment that I was realizing there shouldn't be a wall up. We are all on the same team. Everybody feels for me, you know? And I cried my eyes out. Now I've gotten to a point where I can connect with anyone. Like, if you sit down in front of me and I just stare into your eyes, and I truly feel like if I start crying, you'll start crying, and we'll cry together, that will make me well up. And it's not about people judging you. People will cry with you. That's how I have to think of it, and I'll just start crying. Now, recently, I was on a show called 5 Points. It's Kerry Washington's web series on Facebook Watch. I played a pregnant woman whose husband was cheating on me and impregnated a high school student. And I have no idea the entire series. And then in the end, I finally find out because shit goes down. The script was like really, really vague. It just said, "Mrs. Ryan talking to police upset," or something like that. Like, it was supposed to be something that the camera just kind of like pans over or gets like a glimpse of. You can't hear what we're saying or anything like that. So I was gonna wait to get on set to see what the director wanted me to do, but she kind of didn't tell me. She was more focused on what was actually happening instead of what was just gonna be panned over. I just kind of just took it into my own hands to be like, I'm just gonna lose it. Because I would in that situation. Anybody would. I was pregnant, finding out that my husband was this horrible psycho, and they got a bunch of different shots of what was happening, right? So in some angles, I wasn't even in the shot. In other angles, I was directly in the shot, and I asked them to just let me know so that I wasn't just sitting there crying and they're not even on me. And it was the first time that if I was like not in the shot, or if I was, but I was way out of focus, I would hold it. Then for the next shot, if they told me, "Okay, you're in this one," I would turn it on and just go ham. They would yell cut, I would stop, And then they'd say, okay, for this next one, you're kind of in it, not really. Like, we're not really gonna be able to see what's going on. I would hold it in. Then for the next one, they'd be like, okay, you're gonna be in this one, or you're gonna be right in the center. I would let it out. And I felt so in control of something that I didn't think I would ever have control over. Knock on wood. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I'm not trying to tell you that I'm so good at this one thing. That's not even what acting is, okay? It was just something that I personally was very insecure about, and I tended to focus on it more than I should have. So being able to do this was a big deal for me, and I felt really good about it. They were setting up the scene, people walking around everywhere talking to each other, and I just kind of like stood and I leaned my back up against the wall and I closed my eyes. I knew that by everybody seeing that I was doing that, they knew that I was going to be in my space, so they were going to respect my space, and they did. I had to put myself in a state of mind that said that if I cry, they will cry. Like, I literally have to think that way, even if it's not true. Because if I feel like these people are all just staring at me and watching me and judging me, I will shut down. If you're in a place where you are this close to breaking down, you're at work and something really shitty happened and you're like so close to just like letting it out, and somebody comes up to you and they look at you and they're like, what's wrong with you? Do you get sad or do you get angry? You get angry. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm fine. But if somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? What's wrong? That's when you let go and you start crying, because you feel like somebody understands. You feel like somebody feels for you. Even, like I said, even if it's not true, even if these people don't feel for me, even if they are kind of waiting on me because we need this shot in order to move on, right? We only have this location for a certain amount of time. Even if that is the case, I need to believe that they understand my complicated situation and that they feel for me. And as long as I have that, I'll cry. There are situations now where I didn't even mean to cry in the scene. I just did because I felt a connection with the person that I was reading with. And that's what acting's all about. I remember I was at a soap opera audition one time. My character is supposed to be this homeless mom who has a baby who can't provide for the baby, and does this like split second crazy decision to leave the baby in front of this wealthy home, knowing that they could provide a better life for this baby than she ever could. And she leaves the baby there and walks away, and I think, you know, obviously she snaps out of it and realizes that she can't do that, but by the time she turns around and tries to go back, security catches her and they don't let her go back. And so the scene for the audition is where I'm finally reunited with the baby, and the wife of the wealthy family that I dropped the baby off in front of, she's the one that I'm talking to. And obviously this wife should be like, you are not a fit mother, like you're crazy, but she doesn't. And I know all this, right? Because I'm memorized. I know how the scene goes. I was in the room and she says her line to me, which is, and it wasn't even a woman, it was a man, but he says, I just want you to know, no one is judging you. We completely understand your situation, and I can't say that I wouldn't do the same. And hearing it from him out loud, my line is to say thank you, and I like couldn't even choke it out, because I just felt like this is a situation where you should be judging me hardcore, and you're not. You feel for me, and that's just so powerful. And I started crying, and I didn't realize that I was going to. I had done this scene a bajillion times in my head before I went into the audition, but doing it with somebody and really hearing somebody say that to me when I know that I did such a shitty thing just hit a chord in me, and I lost it. You know, things like that happen, and it's beautiful. It's the whole point. I also will show you a clip from an audition that I did for a movie that I booked, by the way, but it's not in production or anything like that. It's probably gonna be a while before that goes into production. In the clip, it's kind of the same situation as the other one. Like, I knew my lines and everything like that, but there was just a line that I said. I can't even remember, what was the line? She's talking about a guy that killed himself, and she just feels like there were so many times where he did kind of reach out in a weird way. They weren't friends, really, but she got a sense that he wanted to be friends with her, and she kind of didn't react, you know? And it's not until it's too late that she feels like, how hard is it just to smile back at him? Like, how hard is it when he says hi to just say hi back? Like, why didn't I do that? It could have saved his life. You know, it wasn't until I was saying the line, like, I wish I had smiled back at him. I wish I had just said hello when he said hello to me. I wish I had done all these things, but now it doesn't fucking matter because he's gone and I can't do anything about it. So I'll play that clip for you right now.
We all didn't pay much attention to him. He just didn't fit in. I wish I could turn back time to when we were around each other. I wish I'd have fucking smiled back at him. That's the least I could have done.
So anyway, like I said, this is not to say that I am a pro at this and I get it every time. Everybody has their ups and downs, you know, even famous actors, they hit situations where they just can't do it, you know? Like, what's that movie, Winona Ryder, when she like just could not cry? I forget what the movie is. And the director just laid into her, called her a whore in front of all these people, like totally screamed at her. And she started crying and she started sobbing, and they filmed it. And then after he yelled cut, he immediately went over and like scooped her up in his arms and just said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. Directors, they do crazy shit to get a good performance out of their actors, and actors do crazy shit to get a good performance out of themselves. Meg Ryan was also a famous one where she would literally tell them, like, you probably get one take. I can give you one take. After that, I can't keep crying. You know, like, everybody has their stuff. This was something, like I said, that I was like way too in my head about. I really felt like it was the one thing that I needed to do well to be a good actor. And that's not the case. You know, whether you have physical tears or not, if you are actually feeling what your character is going through, you're gonna give a good performance. Because you could be crying your eyes out and nobody will buy it because we can tell it's not real. Anyway, this is my one word of advice. Open yourself up to the people around you. Know that they're not waiting on you or judging you or feel like rushing you. These are people that completely understand how hard your situation is. They don't have to do it, and they know that, and you have to do it, and they know that, and they feel for you. They respect you. As long as you do that and you feel like you're part of a family and you're part of a team, and it's not just you against them. They're with you on this. They want you to do well. They want to cry with you. They want to get a good performance out of you. As long as you feel that with the people around you, you will open up and good things will happen. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope this was in some way helpful for somebody that might have been going through this struggle like I was. Maybe it shed some insight on people that are trying to chase the same dream that I am. But either way, this was fun, just sitting down and chatting with you guys. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.